Hi, welcome to Atwell's podcast. This is a relatively new concept for us. We're hoping to educate and inform people about law, in particular property law. This is what we specialise in. In this podcast, we're going to talk about buying your first home and answering those frequently asked questions. I'm joined today by Libby, who has recently started work at Atwell's. Before we go into the subject of buying your first home, can I ask please that you subscribe and push that notification icon? This will allow you to receive notifications when we post new content. So we're hoping to do a bit more frequently. So when preparing for this podcast, we asked some of our younger staff members about their experience of buying their first home. We also asked some of our seasoned veterans, conveyancers who head up the departments about what questions they're typically asked. So it's just kind of fundamentally questions are based on, really. So we're effectively asking questions based on market research. Myself and Libby both work in the market department, so probably best to reiterate at the start of this that we are by no means legally trained, but we do have a lot of experience in terms of conveyancing, property law, and just general life experience. I'm a mother of adult children, and Libby's at the tender age when she's going to be buying her first house soon. So we're sort of both ends of the spectrum. Also, as well, this podcast has been recorded in a live office, so you may hear buses come past, you may hear people at reception. It's just the nature of the beast. So based on the responses that we got, we've put together a top 10 list of frequently asked questions for first-time buyers. Libby's going to file these off to me, and we're going to have a general discussion. I apologise for waffling in advance, but here we go. Hopefully you'll all find this really useful, and good luck on buying your first home.
Okay, so what would be your tips for saving for your first house as a first-time buyer?
So as a first-time buyer, I'd consider putting my money into different pots. By that I mean, first of all, separating it from your current account. The temptation is too great. If you have it there and you're running short, you're going to dip into it. Also, as well, if you managed to get a Help to Buy, so I know they've been abolished now, and you're probably thinking, why is she talking about this for? But some people will still have them because they put money into them prior to them being abolished. If you're one of those people, you can still pay into it, so pay into it. You've still got time to use it, they'll still pay the money, so please do still use that. The other thing that I would do is, this is what I advise my son to do, is to spread out his money. So he's got different accounts and they're based on high risk, the highest risk being stocks and shares. He's done this via his bank. The reason why I sort of reiterate that is because stocks and shares are high risk for a reason. If you don't know what you're doing, going to a bank allows you that security. You may not get as much back, but you're certainly not going to risk losing it all. And you have to be aware of that. Stocks and shares can go up and they can go down. So again, we can't tell you what to do. We're not financially trained. This is just giving our advice, and sort of really talking from a parent's perspective. So that's what I would do. I would have many different savings accounts, keep them separate from your current account, look at investing in different levels of risk to try and get the best out of your savings. The interest rate, unfortunately, is quite low at the moment, but there's still great options out there if you're willing to take a little bit more risk.
Okay, great. And how can I obtain a mortgage? What do I sort of need to be able to be eligible to obtain a mortgage?
So there's a couple of things that are really important. The first one I'm going to touch upon is your credit rating. A lot of first-time buyers that think about this, they think if they don't have any debt, it's been great. They've never had a credit card. If you've never had a credit card, you've never shown a lender that you can pay back and you're responsible for money. So, oddly enough, get a credit card. The important thing about getting a credit card is not so much the amount you can borrow. In fact, I would recommend you have quite a small amount, even if they offer you more. It's the way you use it. It's the way you pay it back, and it's showing that you're responsible with money. So I would get a credit card, use it maybe, I don't know, buy lunches or snacks, whatever your thing is. I use mine for petrol. And then pay it back each month. That's the important thing. Not just the minimum amount, but in full. That way you're showing lenders that you're responsible with money. Likewise, as well, your bank account. What I would do with a bank account is have two accounts. I'd have one for bills, one for ledger money. And then I'd have all my bills set up in one account. I'd pay money in. So when you get paid at the end of the month, you know your bills are, say, X amount. Say for this instance, they're £500. So therefore you pay £500 into your bill account. Then know you have whatever money left over from your income. And that way, all your bills are paid on time. So depending again on what your circumstances are, maybe you live at home with your mum and dad and therefore don't have a great deal of direct debits. But things like gym memberships, paying for your mobile phone, if you've got that out on contract, paying for maybe Sky and Now TV, these are financial commitments. And if you can pay them off regularly each month, you're showing lenders again that you're very good with money. These things are all important and they'll help you when putting a mortgage application in. The other thing is looking at your deposit. You can get 95% mortgages now, but I would always strive to save more than that because the lender's more likely to lend you more money. So save as much as you possibly can.
And which type of savings account is best for a first-time buyer now that the Help to Buy house has been abolished?
So I guess going back to my earlier point, I would say varied savings accounts, because you can increase the interest rate you're paid based on the level of risk. So, for example, a stocks and shares is likely to give you more back than a basic savings account. An ISA again is going to probably give you more money than a basic savings account, but these are based on risk and they're based on the amount you save. There's also a really good app that I've recently downloaded myself, Moneybox, and every time you make a purchase, it rounds it up. And that's a really good way of saving. You don't really notice you've saved, but that's a relatively good interest rate on that. It depends how long. If you're right at the very start and you just think, I really would like my first house, and you've got it in your head, it's probably going to take me 2 years or something to save, then lock your money up for that period of time. If you know how long it's going to take you to save, lock your money up so you can't release it. If you say to a bank, okay, I'm not going to touch this fund for 2 years, you're going to get a better interest rate. If it's one where you've got instant access to, you're going to have a low interest rate because you can take it out any time. So that'd be my tips for that question.
Excellent. And what is the conveyancing process and how does it work?
The conveyancing process, that's kind of a big question, but the conveyancing process is effectively the legal process of buying and selling a property. It starts off with, well, as I was saying, instructing us, but getting quite a financing quote for Atwells. You can do this online. Visit our website, atwells.com, and you can get instant conveyancing quote. When we send you a conveyancing quote, you'll receive a conclusive breakdown of all what it costs. And then in there's a instruct button. You press instruct. You pay £25 for your ID check, and that's all to do with money laundering, which I can explain in a moment. And then you can take your ID using your mobile phone. It's really simple to do, and effectively you've instructed your conveyancer. You'll get an email to do with the next stages. You'll be introduced to your conveyancer, depending on your location, depends who it is, and then you go from there. The kind of next stage onto that is to do with asking questions to the seller. So your solicitor will ask sort of basic questions, and based on the feedback, will then ask follow-up questions. They'll then ask for something called a context and fitness form, which is really important for a first-time buyer actually, because some people who are selling their property will leave quite a lot of items behind, such as even ovens or fridge freezers. So it's really important to see what they're leaving behind. It may be, especially if someone's selling as an executor because they've a relationship breakdown, that they've actually got more than they need, so they will leave it in the house. This will allow you to reduce your outgoings when you first buy a house. You're going to need everything. So anything you can get secondhand is perfect. It's really, really challenging to get out of a house, and I wouldn't strive to do that all brand new. It's very expensive. Once that's done, we will process with your searches, and searches are just checking about the property itself. You know, for example, is it got subsidence? Is it issues with boundaries or access? Checks out piping and electrics and all those sort of utility bits, and loads of different things, risk of flooding, and loads of things that 9 times out of 10, you know, are absolutely fine for me to always check. And then from then, based on, again, the results, we'll go to exchange. So your conveyancer will draft up contracts. They'll then be reviewed, all being good, all being well. They'll be signed by both parties. Then you've exchanged. And when you've exchanged, you've made a legal commitment to buying that property. No one can back out then. So that's the moment where it's secure. No one can back out in the side of serious repercussions. So that's, and then after that, you complete, and that's completion is basically your moving date. Just going back to money laundering. Money laundering is just checking where your finances come from. It's checking that you really are the person you are. In my case, checking that I'm really Joe, and I really live at this house, and that's really my financial history. So yes, shockingly bad, but yes, it is. So just check, because I need to know, where did you get that money from? In my case, it'd be because I'm selling the house. In a first-time buyer's case, it will probably be, you know, because it's my savings account, and look how I managed to save my money, and I've been saving it for a period of time. And they'll look and see if you have a gift from mum and dad. They'll then want to see some of their information and say, oh, okay, where did your parents get the money from, etc., etc. It stops any sort of criminality, people sort of buying property to effectively wash, which is called money laundering, their money. So once you've purchased something and then you sell it, it's effectively clean money, it's then legal money. That's what we do those checks. And off topic there, but I thought it was worth mentioning that.
Definitely. And how long does all the conveyancing process sort of take?
So at Wales, we're really quick. I sound so conceited, but we are. We're the best. We should say probably the best, like Carling. Almost the best. We take roughly 8 to 10 weeks. Again, this is so dependent that when and can vary. When people ask us one of these questions, you kind of go, about 10 to 8 weeks, which is quite reasonably quite good. In fact, it's blooming good. But it depends on your chain. If you have a really small chain, it's going to be a lot easier. If you've got a long chain, it's going to be harder. And I realise I'm doing a video for first-time buyers, so I'm just going to quickly explain what a chain is. A chain is the amount of people that you're effectively connected to buying a property. So if you're a first-time buyer, you could be buying off someone who is a second-time buyer. And then that person could be buying off someone who is a downsizer, so buying a smaller house, who then could be buying off someone who's an executor of a will. And, or rather probate, sorry. And in that case, there's 4 people in the chain. So 4 people have to exchange and move in order for you to move effectively. So there's 4 people in that chain. And you're only as fast as the person at the bottom of that chain. So normally first-time buyers, you'll be at the bottom of the chain because you've got nothing to sell. But if there's a person in the chain that's taking a while, let's say in this example, the downsizer for whatever reason struggling to get into their property, then you're all held up. So all I will say is, if it takes a little longer or there's complications and you hear there's complications in the chain, don't panic. This is perfectly normal. It happens often. Your conveyancer will do his or her best to resolve the matter. This is something they come across daily. They know how to sort it out. It's all fine. Don't panic. It happens. Again, you could be in the fortunate position of you're buying a house and the person's got nothing to go to, or they go into rent accommodation, which has a really short chain, and you could move even quicker than maybe 8 weeks. It's so varied. This has just been a popular question because of COVID and stamp duty holiday, which we understand. But just to maybe touch upon that, first-time buyers at present don't pay stamp duty, and second-time buyers or people that already own a property and are selling that property to buy another property will only pay 5% on the anything over 250. So if you're buying a property, say for example for 350, you'll pay 5% on 100,000. So I've sort of simplified the maths there. So it is still cheaper up until September. So there's still time to make savings, but I guess first time buyers at present you don't pay stamp duty, so you're absolutely fine.
Okay, great. And how, as a first-time buyer, can I go about obtaining a mortgage?
So my advice on this kind of varied, because we've had people that had great experiences, and people that had bad experiences with mortgage brokers. But I would suggest research, and part of that is mortgage brokers. There's some great ones out there. Do research about your research. That sounds really odd, but research your mortgage broker. Speak to your friends, parents, and ask. FIFO, we use FIFO for our reviews. See what they say. FIFO reviews are all from genuine customers, so they have to be a customer in order to leave a review. Therefore, you can trust the information that they put out. You may find other sources. I was going to mention names then, but I'll get sued. But other sources may be less reliable, because it could be that someone in the chain is sort of moaning, or someone has moaned about a mortgage broker for many reasons, nothing to do with the service. So I would suggest maybe looking at FIFO and seeing what they say and just doing your research on them. Equally, in terms of mortgages, you could do your own research. You could use comparison sites. You could go to a bank. There's many ways. I would seek advice from a professional if I was doing it for the first time personally. That's what I advise my son to do. He's in conversations with his bank and also with Halifax, because he happens to have ISA with them too. So that's Lives in Halifax he's used. Again, I feel like I'm name dropping. Don't sue me. Just talking from personal experience here. This is something that is a real personal choice, and as a law firm, we can't tell you what to do, and we certainly can't make recommendations. It's just not within our remit. But I just research and see what's out on the market. Once you start contacting a few places, you'll get support on how mortgage brokers, obviously make money on selling you a mortgage via commission, not time. Their services are free or can be free. It all depends. The plus side of a mortgage broker is that they can get loans and deals that people coming directly can't. They're also very good at filling in the paperwork, and obviously have far better knowledge of how to overcome certain obstacles. So, yeah, I guess it's all down to personal preference.
Okay, and then going back to searches, we spoke about them earlier, but when do I need to start paying for searches in the process?
So searches are carried out by a third party. That's important to mention because it's a cost to us. So effectively, although you're paying at Wellness, you're not, because we have to go to a third party to get searches done. That's the same case for everyone. It's not just us. So searches are not refundable. Therefore, you should be careful when you pay. And you're correct. I mean, we're not money hungry here. Your conveyancer will tell you when's the best time to speak to them. They will tell you, and they'll only ask you for the money when they need it. Again, just be certain that you've definitely got your mortgage, that's all secure before doing it. You know, you can do your searches, I say relatively late in your conveyancing transaction. I mean, not too late because it will hold up the process, but you know, you have time. We've still got to get the contents and fitness form, still got to ask those questions, etc., etc. The only thing about searches are that it may inform some of these questions. So the best course of action is to speak to your conveyancer. They will give you honest advice based on their experience. Again, they can't tell you what to do. If you want to pay for a search as soon as you instruct, you can. It's entirely up to you. It depends how confident you're feeling, and how quickly you want to move, and all these different things. But I would seek advice from your from your legal team, from your conveyancer.
Okay, great. And if something major is revealed in these searches, then what happens from that?
Major findings your conveyancer will talk to you straight away. So you'll have a conversation with your conveyancer. They'll talk you through what's happened and why and what they think. Again, it's up to you what you do with that information, that advice. We can't tell you what to do, but they'll talk to you about it and tell you what has occurred and why and what they think you should do and what the risk is. As a first-time buyer, this could be quite a daunting time. What I will say is things flag up on searches that may seem really scary, and I'm going to use this example because I know it's come up in my area where people in my area have had searches done, and it said risk of flood. That's particularly funny because we live on top of the hill, so gravity excludes this from being a possibility. But because we live near relatively near a park, we're considered to have risk of flooding. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen, but it's on there. So what I would say in these instances are, if your conveyancer hasn't flagged it as an issue, I wouldn't be too concerned. If you're still panicked and you still think, I don't know, I'm not sure about this, I am a little concerned, ask. One of the things that I kind of want to get across in this podcast is that there's no stupid questions. Every first-time buyer worries, every first-time buyer is nervous. You're not going to know what's going on. I mean, even second-time buyers and third-time buyers, people downsizing are still very unfamiliar. This is something that people don't do regularly. So just ask questions, and if you see searches come back and it says, I don't know, it's a sort of slight warning there about flooding, and your conveyancer hasn't said anything, but you're deeply concerned, pick up the phone, have a chat, or send an email and say, is this okay? And then they will come back to you and in most cases be very reassuring and say, no, it's nothing. It'll be fine.
Okay, great. And why is exchange of contracts so important?
Exchange of contract is that kind of magical moment. It's when you have exchanged contracts. You've basically effectively said that you're committed to buying the house. Both parties have made a commitment to sell, to buy, and this can't be broken easily. So it's that moment where there's point of no return, basically. You've made a legal obligation and commitment to buy that property or to sell that property. Therefore, you can't go back without serious repercussion. So that's the time when you can be very assured you've got the house, everything's going to be fine. After that time, you will complete, and that will be your moving day. So it's right towards the end. It's a real milestone for that reason.
Brilliant. And when should I book removals or add deposits?
This for me would be after the exchange. So we've just talked about the exchange. It's now certain you've purchased that house, you've signed the paperwork, we're now just going to request funds and get a moving date for you, everything's ready to go. That's when you need to do it. By all means, if you feel confident and you think that it's not going to fall through, book them prior. But all I would say from a personal perspective, again, can't tell you what to do, giving you sort of legal advice here, but I would wait. I would wait until I've exchanged, because a lot of these things can be done online. it's not hard. It's not hard to book removals. Again, we can recommend a few people. I mean, we recently used Gallagher to move my mum from her place to a new place. But we wanted to do the lifting and do things ourselves, and we were happy to do that. If you're not, if you want help with lifting and you've got too much to do on your own, you can't do it all, then someone who we've dubbed as Move It Matt is a great help, and I'll put his details and also Gallagher's details in the link below, and they can help you with moving, and again, easy to book, utilities easy to put on, easy to cancel. 2, there is no great rush, and a lot of these first time buyers typically will be going from parents' house or rented accommodation, so it's handing in your notice. I guess it depends on what your tenancy agreement says. If you have to give more notice, then speak to your conveyancer about that, and they'll advise you and say, if you need to give a 3 months notice, then there's something you need to discuss with your conveyancer at the start and have a conversation about when they think is best. It may be that when you're saving, you factor in money to allow for maybe a month's overlap or something. It all really depends on your circumstances. If I was moving from rented, I would probably do that, just to give myself that little bit of extra time, just in case. But again, it's completely up to you, and some people just haven't got the money to do that, so which is understandable. Speak to your conveyancer if that's you. If you're moving from rented, have a chat. We'll do our best to help and guide as much as we can. And yeah, so it's my advice after exchange.
Okay, great. That is all my questions for today. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. That's excellent. Cheers. Thank you for that. And I hope I didn't waffle on too much. I hear myself droning on like some sort of boring old person, which I guess I am now, so I'm nearly 40. 30. I lie about my age. 30. Slip there. So yeah, hopefully you found this useful. If you are thinking of purchasing your first home, then please do visit our website. You can receive an instant conveyancing quote from there. It's www.atwells.com. You can instruct us online, as mentioned earlier on. It's really, really simple to do. Press a button in your email, pay £25 deposit. We can take your ID, get you set up, send out all the paperwork, all that. It's all done. It's all automated. We'll put you with a conveyancer. They'll send you an email. It can be done 24/7. It's so simple to do. One of the things we're really good at is our digital innovation. We're working hard on improving all the time our digital aspect to our business. So this really helpful for first-time buyers, because a lot of it can be done on your mobile phone, which is great news. Okay, so yeah, so I hope you found it useful. I've said that 2 or 3 times now, but do subscribe and sort of click the notification icon. We're going to try and do this more frequently and cover different topics. So me and Libby will probably be hearing our voices a couple of times. Again, we both work in marketing. This is not really, conveyancing I know about, but I'm not legally trained, so just sort of bear that in mind, some of the advice that I've given you. Hopefully we can have some interviews with some solicitors and do different things in this podcast. We're trying to make it informative as possible and just break down the law and explain it to you in the plainest way possible. So again, have a great day. It's Friday here, we're recording this Friday afternoon, so we're due to have a long weekend, which is probably going to sound very distant by the time you hear this, but come Monday, hopefully the sun had shone. Okay, thank you for listening. Goodbye.